everyone. So today we're going to be doing my December budget wrap up. I haven't done one of these for a few months, so we're just kind of kicking back into it. But I've already gone through and filled out my worksheets, and I thought we could talk through them together. There is a little bit we'll fill out together, but most of it is filled out already. So I have it here, and I'm just going to pop out these pages to make it a little bit easier for us as we go on our way. Okay, so this sheet may look familiar to you. This is my December budget that we filled out together. So we filled out this column together in my budget video. I'll link it down below. If you want to know why I have some of the numbers I do, I explain them all in that video. And then I already filled out my actual and my percentage, but we're going to be talking through these columns together. So I have this sheet, and then I have my overview sheet and some sinking fund type stuff. So the first thing that I wanted to start with is the actual column. So I have already gone through and filled this out, just kind of what has actually happened in my budget this past month. And the biggest thing I wanted to mention is you're seeing a lot of green, which means that I am above, which honestly in most cases is okay. Like for my savings, for my investing, for paying off debt, like green is a good thing. If there was green up here, I wouldn't be super happy, but I actually have just lines here, meaning that I stayed exactly within my budget. It wasn't higher, it wasn't lower, it was the same. So I budgeted for the month $3,570.49, and I actually ended up taking in a total of $4,917.70, which is just over $1,400 more this month. So I wanted to talk about where did all that come from? How did I get there? So this is my December income report, and it's a really simple thing that I do. I write down the date, what kind of like description of the money, and how much I got, and then I have these A's and P's. This is something extra I do. I categorize each of these lines as either active or passive income. Those definitions may be different for you. For me, it means active means that I had to trade some sort of time or energy to get that money, whereas passive means that I was just given the money. So for example, the interest or the cash back on my credit card, or this personal reimbursement of $855. I didn't have to do anything special. I didn't have to work for it. I just got it, if that makes sense. So all of this totaled is $4,971.70, and I had 1401.21 as my total passive income, which is 28.18%, which I think is pretty darn good. So that is where I got my actual number for my budget worksheet here. It's going to match exactly that. So just a couple of highlights here. I did save a little bit more in most of my funds. These are the four that are in green here are in high interest savings accounts, which means that they're going to be earning me interest every month anyway. I did actually use all of my incidental money, and I created a Roth IRA account for myself, which I am super pumped about. So this is pink because I actually took the money from here and threw it in my Roth IRA, and it already made 15 cents. So great, 15 more cents for retirement. And so otherwise the bulk of my money went to my credit card payoff. So I only planned to put $84 into my credit card debt because I was working on my emergency fund. So I actually got it up to what I wanted it to be for it to be considered funded right now. Long term, I'd like to add more to it, but my goal for the time being, as I'm paying off debt, is to have 1 month's worth of expenses saved. Just that if I lost my job, if something were to happen, I know I'd have a month cushion to actually get unemployment and deal with all of that. So I have that now back to where I want it to be, so I could shift my attention off of my emergency fund and back off to paying debt, which is very exciting. And yeah, that is kind of the biggest items I want to list in the actual. And then this column is the percentage. So what I do is I take how much my actual was. So for instance, let's look at my mortgage, $1,074.55. So I take this number and I divide it by my actual income, the $4,917.70, and I multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So I like to do this for every line item. I want to see how much my line items are taking out of my total income. So my mortgage was 21.6%. Netflix and Spotify was not even 1 full percent. So this is where I'm able to kind of determine, what do I think is kind of high? What are things that maybe are luxuries like Netflix and Spotify, but like for me, in my opinion about personal finances, which I do have a video about some controversial opinions, I'll link it down below. But one of them is that like Netflix and Spotify, this is not even 1% of my budget. So it's not going to be the reason why I didn't pay off my debt. Like it's only $25. So to me, that is worth keeping. But anyway, that is how I get my percentage totals here. So in all, I had 48.7% go towards my standard expenses. I had 29.4% go to my sinking funds. I had 1.6% go to investing. This is also an area where I believe it's okay to invest a little bit while you're paying off debt. Again, only 1.6% of my total income actually went to investing. So I don't think that's like a big deal or gonna really make or break me either. And then I had 20.2% go to paying off debt. So I feel pretty good about that. Let's move on to my actual overview sheet here. So this is something I have already kind of filled out. There's a few things I need to fill out on here, but we're going to use this as like a benchmark. So the total income I filled out, the passive income we already talked about and how I got that number and what I personally consider passive income. The next one is savings rate. We're going to calculate that together in our video just in a little bit. I have my total debt. I have $5,418.60 worth of debt right now across 2 credit cards. So I am going to be focusing on paying those off in 2021. That is my main goal. My emergency fund, I do not share with you guys the actual dollar amount I currently have for security reasons. However, I do have 29.94% to being fully funded. So for me, fully funded means 3 months of expenses plus $1,000. So I am at 29.94% of the way there. I also have my net worth change here. So typically I just show you the percentage. It either went up or down from the prior month, but I figured for December, the last one of the year, I would share with you my current net worth is 106,562.36. So I did break through the $100,000 milestone this year. I did post about it on Instagram, so I figured it would be okay to share it once here, and we'll just see where this ends up next year. I've got my credit score of 756, which is pretty decent, and then my mortgage balance. So my current mortgage balance is $149,586.56. I have paid off 6.5% of my mortgage. My original mortgage amount was $160,000, so I've paid off a good, considering I've owned my house for 2.5 years, that's a pretty good part, chunk of it. And then I consider that I own 25.21% of my home. So I did the purchasing amount minus my mortgage balance to figure out how much equity I have in the home, and then divided that out. I don't do it based on the current value of my home. It would be too hard to track. So I just do the purchasing price. So that is the overview sheet. Let's move into my funds and my savings rate, shall we? So I've got my different funds here, and I don't share all of them. Like obviously my emergency fund is not in here, but these are the main ones that I track that I like to talk about. So the different categories I have had throughout 2020, and I am going to carry all of these over into 21, are vacation, gifts, annual, incidental, home, MECO, beauty, and utilities. So all of these do have a current balance in them. And, I don't really have anything special to note. I didn't write out anything extra here. Obviously, my gifts was pretty much depleted. I used most of that balance towards holiday gifts this year. And then for some of these, I also just kind of like reset for the beginning of the year. So like my incidental in my home, I brought back down to $50 and $30. MECO, I rounded out to $130. That's my cat. He has his own fund for like litter and toys and food and the vet and stuff like that. But I just rounded those out so that I was starting 2021 on a clean slate. So here is where we're going to do a little bit of math together. This is the savings rate. Now I calculate two different savings rate numbers. I have one that includes my mortgage principal and one that does not. There's kind of like a debate online about which one is better to calculate and why. So I've decided I'm just going to calculate both. And so how I do this is a couple of different steps here. So here are my formulas. So with the mortgage, it's going to be A plus B plus C over D times 100. So A is going to be the difference in funds. So I like to calculate not what I actually put into my sinking funds, because I can also spend it that much. I would just rather look at the end of month balance and subtract it back. So the total end of month balance between my funds in December was $4,809.07. However, the total across all the same funds in November was $4,031.40. So I subtract December minus November, and that is $777.67. That's how much money I put into my accounts and actually held on to. I put more money into them, but I also spent some out of that this month. Like I put money into my gifts, but I spent a lot of it out of the gifts. So that's how I calculate it. I don't like to do what I put into the fund, because while it is going into the fund, it could also be coming out of the fund through purchases. So that's how I calculate my actual kind of like cash difference. And then I have my investing, and this includes what I'm putting in, like contributing, as well as what I'm earning. So I had $5 into my Acorns account, nothing into GroundFloor, Betterment $24.02, and then my Roth IRA $50.17. So all this together equals $79.17, and this is my letter B. My mortgage principal from December, I paid $392.72 towards my mortgage principal. And then I've got this total income again. So what I figured we could do is write out these formulas down below and then also do the math, but I need to kind of tilt my paper for me to write. So we're going to do with mortgage here. And we're going to do without mortgage here. So with the mortgage, it's A plus B plus C. So let's start there. So 777.67 plus 79.17 plus 392.72. I'll do an equal. And then without the mortgage, I'm not going to include C. So I'm not including that mortgage principal. So just 777.67 plus 79.17. That is a lot of sevens. So let's do that math together. Hopefully you can see that okay. 777.67 plus 79.17 plus 392.72. So that is my total. So I've got $1,249.56. I'm just going to draw a line here. And then on this side, without the mortgage principal, we're at 777.67 plus 79.17, and that equals 856.84. So now I'm going to take those numbers and divide it by my total income. So we've got $1,249.56 divided by $4,971.70. We're going to do the same thing over here. So we're just going to carry this number down so I have a little bit more space. Divided by my total income equals. So let's do that math. 1249.56 divided by 49.71.70. And this is the decimal, so then I'm going to multiply it by 100 to get my total. So that is going to be 25.13% that I saved. And over here, I'm going to do 856.84 divided by 4971.70 times 100 is 17.23%. So I'm just going to write that here and here as well. 17.23, 25, 13. And then this is also on my overview sheet that I need to write out. So I'm just going to do that. 5, 13, and 17, 23. So that is the percentage of my income for my kind of definitions that I saved. I do not include paying off debt. I do not include, that's why, you know, personally, I wouldn't include my mortgage principal because I don't include debt principal, but, you know, that's a different thing because it's equity and all that good stuff. So that is the savings rate portion. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. And now my overview is filled out. So I just have one more thing that I would like to do together, and that is my mortgage tracker. So let me pull this out. And if you have not seen this before, I will link a website down below. This is called an amortization schedule. So you can put in any sort of loan that you're paying down. You put in the starting amount or your current amount, the interest rate, the terms of it, all that good stuff. And it's going to calculate out each month what you would pay in interest and principal and your remaining balance. So I've done this for my mortgage. You could also do this for student loans, for your car loans, for any sort of loan you can do this for. What I do is there's the printed numbers, but then I like to fill in my own numbers. So kind of a brief backstory. I bought my house in May of 2018. And that was super exciting. And I still can't believe that I own a house because, like, what the heck? But I was always told that making one extra payment a year will do wonders for how much you pay in interest and how fast you can pay off your debt. So I did the math and I figured out that, okay, one extra payment a year would be $752.28. Now that seems like kind of intimidating that I have to save that up and then figure out how to do an extra payment. So I broke it down even further. I pay my mortgage monthly. So I took this number and divided it by 12, and that is $62.69 a month, which makes it way less scary in my opinion. So I just add $62.69 a month to my normal mortgage payment. So that way, throughout the year, I'm making one additional payment, you know, in total. And I have a form that I fill out with my credit union, who my mortgage is through, and they let me add on extra money. If they won't let you automatically do it, you should have an option on the website to make an additional principal only payment each month. So with that background being said, what I do is I fill in how much interest, how much principal, and my remaining balance for every single month, and then I highlight. So I like to highlight through, so like here, I will take the number that I'm actually at, because remember, written means that's where I'm actually at, and then I go down and see how far ahead am I in paying my mortgage. So that's what we're going to do today. I've already filled out my numbers, but we still need to highlight for this chart. So this month, December 2020, in interest, I paid $485.03. I originally was scheduled to pay $493. So yeah, I'll take $485 over that. And then I was only scheduled to make a payment of $260 towards my principal balance, but I actually paid $392.72, which is super exciting. So with all that being said, my current balance is $149,811.08. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look down here and see if I can find a balance under that. And I'm actually going on to the next page, which is so exciting. Oh my gosh, the time has come. I have probably like 10 pages, but still one page down. So my number is $149,811. So $149,811 is definitely lower than $149,953. So I'm going to highlight this. And then I have $149,811, but that is not quite under $149,685, if that makes sense. So I don't highlight it until I surpass it. But what this helps me tell, see, now I have my two sheets. Hopefully this is like not looking too crazy. What I can do now is I can count, okay, I'm at December 2020 and then I count how many lines of yellow I have past that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 9 months ahead on paying off my mortgage, which is, again, awesome. I love that. So we are done with December 2020, and I'm kind of going in rainbow order on my thing here. So when we do January's wrap up, I'm going to start highlighting in green so that we can keep track. But I am so excited to be on my next page and work my way down. I would love to just keep tracking this. Again, I am 9 months ahead after 2.5 years of having my mortgage. And that's because I've been consistently every single month adding extra. So again, I just took one extra payment and divided it by 12 because I pay my mortgage monthly. If you pay your mortgage twice a month, like on the 1st and the 15th or something like that, you could even take this and divide it by 2 so that it'd be lower. Or if you kept it at the 62.69 and paid it twice, then you'd actually be making 2 extra payments a year. But honestly, I felt really intimidated until I broke it down, and then I was like, oh, $62. I spend like $70 on, dumb stuff throughout the month. Of course I can spend $62.69 on my mortgage. So that was a long rant, but I hope that made sense. With that being said, this is going to conclude my December overview. Let's see here. I've got my budget sheet here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm a little rusty at filming these, so bear with me. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down below about what I talked about, if something didn't make sense, or if you just want to share what your successes were for December. I would love to hear about it too. So that is going to be it. And let's go into 2021 with a good plan and some goals to reach in the new year. But that is going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.